Hello, everybody, and welcome to Youth Connect, July the 16th. I'm Aiden.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Joshua.
I'm Nabroth.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our Youth Connect. It is so nice to see you guys. Hello, and welcome to Youth Connect again. We have very interesting news, ranging from video game news all the way to entertainment and even movie news. But the first thing that we got to start off with, obviously, is our video game of the week with video game news. So, obviously, we need to start off with our video game of the week, where I basically try to showcase and shine the light on a game that I really think that you guys should check out. And today's game was part of the Nintendo Switch. And the new Nintendo Direct, part of the new updates and brand new games that have been ported from other titles. This one came from Wii U, and today's game is Pikmin 3. So the reason why I chose Pikmin 3 is that Pikmin 3 is a open world exploration game where you must survive on an unknown planet. But in Pikmin 3 is set on the mysterious and previously unnamed planet now called PNF 404. The story is said that the inhabitants of the planet Kopai are suffering from famine as a result of a blooming population, blooming appetites, and a lack of planning. Having scouted multiple planets with their Spiro ships, the planet returns positive with abundance of with edible food. 3 Kopite explorers, Captain Alf, Brittany, and Charlie, are sent to explore and retrieve food sources from this newfound planet. The SS Drake, their ship, suddenly malfunctions and crash lands, separating the 3 and damaging their warp drive so they're unable to get back to their planet. While they're stranded there, they find these strange creatures called Pikmin. They're very cute and small plant-like creatures, each with their own unique ability, and they come in various colors and different physical features that signify their special abilities or immunities to hazards. For example, red Pikmin are immune to fire and can fight harder. Yellow Pikmin are immune to electricity and can be thrown farther. Blue Pikmin are immune to water. And there's even more to explore in Pikmin 3. With that, your missions are to find your ship's warp drive, collect enough food to survive, and reunite with your fellow crew. Honestly, I played through the whole series from 1 to 3, and if you guys ever have the time to play through the whole series, I recommend it. It's a game that's really unique. It's nothing that you've probably never played. It's a brand new game style. It's unique. It's cool. And I hope that you guys check it out. Anyways, though, next up is our co-host Kevin, and Kevin has with us some local Ontario, Canadian news and weather.
Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Youth Connect. The time is now 3:34. I'm your host, Kevin Aruja, but first, let's get into headlines. Ontario reports 183 new COVID-19 cases and 9 more deaths as the 7-day average falls. Ontario reports 159 new COVID-19 cases on today. COVID-19 has become pandemic of unvaccinated. A Green Party brass moved to block funding for leader Annamie Paul's writing campaign. Injuries reported after tornado flips vehicles, damages homes in Barrie, Ontario. Stanley Cup's heading to Montreal for repairs after getting dented in parade. Ontario reports 159 new COVID-19 cases on Friday, along with 10 additional deaths as the province reopened indoor dining and fitness activity for the first time in months. The 7-day rolling average of new cases stood at 151 on Friday, down from 155 on Thursday. Provincial labs processed more than 28,000 test specimens, generating a positivity rate of at least 0.6%. The non-active caseload throughout the province fell to 1,403, the lowest that number has been since September 6, 2020. The Ministry of Health said there were 159 people in a hospital intensive care beds due to COVID-19 on Friday, down from 168 on Thursday. A month ago, there were 377 people in the ICU due to COVID-19. 112 people are breathing with the help of a ventilator. More than 10 million people have received at least one dose of an approved COVID-19 vaccine in the province, and 7.57 million have received 2 doses. Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown said that COVID-19 has become a pandemic of the unvaccinated and is urging residents to make sure their family, friends, and neighbors roll up their sleeves and get a shot if they haven't already done so. Brown made the comment during a briefing on Wednesday as he discussed the need to continue to improve Peel Region's vaccination numbers as Ontario enters Step 3 of its reopening plan later this week. Currently, nearly 79% of Peel residents have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine, and more than 54% are fully immunized. About 83% of all COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths in Ontario since May have involved people who were unvaccinated or only partially vaccinated, and in Peel, that number is even higher, about 90%. According to Peel Region Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Law, there are currently tens of thousands of appointments that remain available at vaccine clinics over the next 2 weeks as supply becomes less and less of an issue. A Green Party executive said the organization's dire financial situation means it may not be able to fully fund and support both the writing campaign of leader Annamie Paul and those of other candidates in an election expected later this year. A motion was tabled at a federal council meeting on June 29th to hold back $250,000 previously earmarked for Paul's campaign in a Toronto center. An internal memo obtained by CBC News spells out the party's worsening financial situation, warning that it will have a very significant impact on our ability to provide support to candidates and electoral district associations. The memo, which was sent last week, says party staff who were laid off recently due to the organization's financial plight likely won't be rehired until there's a major reduction in expenses and increase in revenues. The Liberal government is widely expected to call an election sometime in the late summer or early fall. Environment Canada has confirmed a tornado ripped through a Barrie, Ontario neighborhood since yesterday afternoon, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. An Environment Canada Toronto warning blasted over the airwaves and to cell phones around 2:30 p.m. as the skies darkened over the south end of the city and heavy rain fell. The storm lasted roughly 10 to 15 minutes and was followed by sirens and emergency crews headed to the Mapleview Drive and Prince William Bay Arena. Barrie resident Sheldon Murphy said they were in the kitchen when the warning sounded. We saw stuff started to fly around in the air, spinning. That's when we got everyone down in the basement. Then 5 minutes later, it started to clear up. Environment Canada said it would send a team to survey the storm damage in Barrie. In sports, turns out the Stanley Cup is going to Montreal after all, but it will return to the Tampa Bay Lightning's possession for an extended party after the Lightning celebrated a second consecutive championship with another signature Tampa Bay boat paraded on Monday. Hockey's Holy Grail needed to be sent north of the border for repairs after slipping and hitting the ground during the storm. The bowl for the 128-year-old Silver Chalice was dented to the point that it looked like the flat Stanley Cup. The second Lightning boat paraded in 10 months was fitting for the desire and more celebration. Captain Steven Stamkos wore a t-shirt bearing the message "Back to Boat," and the back-to-back champs were toasted with a boat parade on the Hillsborough River. with thousands of fans no longer burdened by COVID-19 restrictions gathered downtown to join the fun. The scene 5 days after the Lightning closed on the five-game Stanley Cup final win over the Montreal Canadiens hardly resembled the riverfront gathering organized after their team won last year's title while playing in empty arenas because of the pandemic. Dozens of residents on boats and other watercraft enjoyed a close crew of vessels carrying players and coaches. A post-parade rally in the downtown park was delayed more than an hour, when a heavy thunderstorm accompanied by gusting winds sent fans scattering for cover. In today's weather forecast, we've got a mix of sun and clouds. The temperature is now 25 degrees centigrade. On Saturday afternoon, we've got cloudy. The temperature will be 24 degrees centigrade. That's all report on weather. Have a great weekend, folks. And now back to Aiden's gaming news.
Thank you so much, Kevin. You know what? I am pretty scared that there was a tornado that happened in Ontario. You know what, guys? We got to be careful, and we really hope that nobody was injured. Now, if you guys remember last week, we actually talked about the game of the week being Pokemon Go and their Pokemon Go Fest 2021 that was going to be happening next week. Well, let me just say that the Pokemon Go Fest is starting officially tomorrow on July the 17th. And as I live in a family who loves Pokemon Go, I want to share with you guys some of the important events that will be happening. And if you're interested, check it out. So first thing, habitation hours. So kicking off the first day of Go Fest, there will be a separation of 4 different habitation hours that rotate the wild Pokemon encountered. These habitations are jungle, desert, mountain, ocean, beach, and a cave. Now, players who purchase a Pokemon Go Fest pass, as we talked before, it's $4.99, will be able to catch region-locked Pokemon such as Chatot, Sock, and Throw. Those are some pretty cool Pokemon. For the second thing is the musical Pokemon uptick. Since this year's Go Fest is centered around a musical theme, expect to see Pokemon such as Kricketot, Chimchio, and Audino more often in the wild as well due to their propensity to make music. Third one, mystery costume Pikachu. In addition to the previously mentioned wild Pokemon, a special Pikachu will be also spawning in as of yet undisclosed costume. We don't know what it could be. What could it be? I wonder. Is he going to be having a tuba? Is he going to be riding? Is he going to have a microphone? Who knows? There's even more costume Pokemon. So not just Pikachu is going to be dressing up for the party tomorrow. Available in raids, the Galarian forms of Ponyta and Zigzagoon will be decked out in their own special costumes. Lastly, we got more shinies. 11 more shiny Pokemon will be introduced to Pokemon Go during the Go Fest. These Pokemons include Whismur, Chimcho, Audino, Tympole, Unknown, Sock, and Throw. But the main part of this is the special research story. So there is a new special research story that will be available to players who purchased a Go Fest 2021 pass, which involved Professor Rillo attempting to set up a music festival. Wow, what a coincidence. Players who complete this story have a chance to catch Popstar and Rockstar Pikachu. Not only this, but players who complete the research will encounter Meloetta, the newest mythic Pokemon introduced to Pokemon Go. Now, I know my dad is actually very excited for this event, and we will have to see what this mysteriously costumed Pikachu is going to be. But anyways, next up is Joshua, and Joshua has with us some world news and, of course, our very favorite animal news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to UConnect. Here's what's happening around the world. Heavy flooding in Germany left dozens of people dead, with more missing and many stranded on rooftops. Storms brought torrential rain Wednesday that caused rivers to burst their banks and sent torrents of water sweeping through cities and villages in Germany, Belgium, and elsewhere across the region. Authorities in Germany declared an emergency as floods there killed at least 40 people, swept away cars, and caused buildings to collapse. Authorities used inflatable boats and helicopters to identify and rescue those left stranded in the floods, and the German army deployed 200 soldiers to assist in the rescue operation, which was hampered by blocked roads and phone and internet outages. The full extent of the damage caused by the flooding is still unclear, with floodwater and landslides cutting off access to villages and roadways. Major highways were flooded in southern and eastern parts of the country, and the railway said all trains were halted. The floods have caused Germany's worst mass loss of life in years. I grieve for those who have lost their lives in this disaster, said German Chancellor Angela Merkel, expressing shock at the scope of the flooding. We still don't know the number, but it will be many. She also pledged that everything would be done to find those missing. President Biden is expressing support for demonstrators in Cuba after thousands of people took to the streets in one of the country's biggest protests in decades. The U.S. stands firmly with the people of Cuba as they assert their universal rights, and we call on the government of Cuba to refrain from violence in their attempt to silence the voices of people of Cuba, he said. The comments came a day after thousands of Cubans reported into the streets protesting against the community's government triggered by food shortages, rising prices, and the government response to rising COVID-19 infections. But in Havana, it was mostly quiet again by Monday. Police were seen patrolling the streets. Cuban authorities appear to have blocked access to social media, sites like Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Dozens of people have been reportedly arrested in the protests, including journalists. Many demonstrators were also injured in clashes with police and pro-government activists, and President Diaz-Canel blamed Cuba's economic turmoil on the U.S. trade embargo. One indication of the mounting discontent in Cuba, an increase in the number of rafts and boats of migrants arriving in the U.S. from Cuba, despite no longer having a clear pathway to stay in the U.S. A wobble in the moon's orbit may lead to record floods on Earth. Every coast in the U.S. is facing rapidly increased high tide floods. NASA says this is due to a wobble in the moon's orbit working in tandem with rising sea levels fueled by climate change. The new study from NASA and the University of Hawaii, published recently in the journal Nature Climate Change, warns that upcoming changes in the moon's orbit could lead to record flooding on Earth in the next decade. By mapping the sea level rise scenarios, flooding thresholds, and astronomical cycles, researchers and found flooding in American coastal cities could be severely multiples worse in the 2030s when the next wobble is expected to begin. They expect the flooding to significantly damage infrastructure in displaced communities. The lunar wobble is actually a natural occurrence first reported in 1728. The moon's orbit is responsible for periods of both higher and lower tides about every 18.6 years, and they are dangerous in their own right. But this time around, scientists are more concerned with sea level rise due to climate change. The next time floods are expected to be more intense and more frequent than ever before, worsening already grim predictions. According to the study, these floods will exceed flooding thresholds more often and can also occur in clusters and lasting more than a month, even as frequently as every day or every other day, depending on the positions of the moon, earth, and sun. Now, turning to our animal interest news. The Animal Welfare League, or AWL, of Arlington untangled an owl and turtle that got stuck together. The AWL Arlington discovered the animals were stuck together after receiving a call about an owl in a resident's backyard that could not fly, prompting Deputy Animal Control Officer Ryan Robinson to investigate Como News reported, Robinson found the owl with a claw clamped between the turtle's top and bottom shell and brought them back to the shelter, where he and Chief of Animal Control Jennifer Toussaint dislodged the claw to gently separate the two. This was a first for our animal control team, and an owl and a turtle stuck together. AWL Arlington tweeted with link to video of the team's separation of the animals. The owl had a minor injury and the turtle was uninjured, a video caption shows. A licensed with wildlife rehabilitator will take care of them until they can be released back into the wild. This is Joshua Shaw reporting for UConnect. That's it for me. Now I'll send it back to you, Aiden.
You know what? As per usual, the animal news is always so interesting. I am very happy that the turtle and the owl got separated because you know what? Sometimes when an animal gets their hand stuck, or they might just pull off the nail, and that would hurt even more and might even lead to death. So thank goodness we were able to find them in time. For our last video game news, we got our board game of the week, which is similar to our video game of the week, but instead it's a board game. And today's board game is actually a pretty unique one that was actually originating in Russia, which got ported to other countries just recently, called Clever Cubed, or that's its translated name. Whether you're a high score hunter with hundreds of games or just an occasional gamer, Clever Cubed offers you new and exciting challenges to master. Now, roll and write games go back to the earliest days of tabletop gaming. If you've ever played Yahtzee or its cousin Kismet, you played a roll and write game. You roll some dice, you use the results to mark off one or more spaces on the individual paper. And the mechanic is a beauty, just how easy it is to learn. It's highly repairable, it's portable, and you have dice and pencils, you're good to go. Now, I bet you're wondering, like, how do I do this? How do I play this Yahtzee, or how do I play this game? Well, Clever Cube is quite simple. You have 6 dice. You roll them down, and there's a complete list on combos. So, like, let's say I have all 3s or all 2s. Guess what? That increases the amount of points. And depending on different combos that you might get a royal flush. You might get all 6s, all 4s, all 3s. It will depend on if you win or not in the game. It's a very unique style. It's just a pencil, a paper, and some dice. That's how simple it is. And Clever Cubed offers a brand new selection as it offers challenges with cards. And each card has a challenge on it. And if you can beat it, guess what? You've beaten that challenge. And it's kind of like a test your skills kind of game. So it's like Yahtzee, but with challenges. I recommend that you guys check it out. It's a very unique game, and you know what? It's always nice to play a nice classic, just pen, paper, and dice game. Anyways, though, last up for our news, we got Nebraska with some movie and entertainment.
Hayden, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Nebraska.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. How are you guys today? My name is Nebraska, and I'm your host for the entertainment news. Let's get straight into our top story. And our top story is about the movie The Founder. The Founder is a 2016 American biographical drama film. In 1954, Ray Kroc is traveling a milkshake machine salesman, while he has a supportive wife named Ethel and has saved enough money to live a comfortable life in Alton Heights, Illinois. He craves more. Ray also observes that many of the drive-in restaurants that he tries to sell to are inefficiently run. After learning that a drive-in in San Bernardino is ordering an unusual number of milkshake mixers, Ray drives to California to see it. What he finds is McDonald's Hamburgers, a popular walk-up restaurant with fast service, high-quality food, disposable packaging, and a family-friendly atmosphere. So before I go ahead, So McDonald's was was the first one to do this, right? Before that, waitress or waiter servers used to come to your car and give you trays of food, and you used to eat in your car, right? But McDonald's changed it, right? They said, why not? Let's give the people what they want. So they took out the signs, everything, what the cars, and they said, if you want your food, come up and sit. And then it worked. So I'm going to tell that more about that. So we meet with the two McDonald's brothers, Maurice, Mac, Richard, brothers Maurice, Mac, and Richard Dick McDonald's. They give Ray the tour of their kitchen, and he notes the employees' strong work ethic. Ray is astounded with the restaurant and takes their brothers to dinner. They'll tell him the original story of McDonald's and how they came to design their fast food system. So the system, right? The system that the brothers created was, if I order, you're gonna get your patty, drink, or fries in less than 1 minute or less than 30 seconds, right? That's the system what they created. And then later on, Ray signed a deal so he could franchise it. And so why you have, so if you see in your streets or near your home, you have a McDonald's, right? Why do you have that? Because of Ray Kroc. So yeah, if you have, if you want to see this movie, it's on Netflix. You can go there and just search The Founder. It's a great movie. I love it. I've seen it a lot of times since 2016. I've seen it a lot of times. It's a great movie. So if you want to see this movie, just watch it. It's a great movie. So the next story is about podcasts, all about podcasts. So today I have 3 podcasts with you. So first, Truthline Voice. The name is Truthline Voice. Truthline's Voice is a podcast for teens and young adults. They're capturing the voice of youth, revolutionizing the way you think and creating new ways of being the world. Dare to be different and take risks. Conquer your fears and take charge of your own journey. That's one. Second, Youth Culture Matters. Youth Culture Matters, a podcast from CPYU, Center for Parent Youth Understanding, discussing issues related to the world youth culture, children, teens, and young adults. The Center for Parent Youth Understanding is a not-profit organization committed to building strong families by serving to bridge the culture generational gap between parents and teenagers. Tune in to listen to the podcast. You can just search all the podcasts on Google. Stuff you missed in history class. History is full of weird, wonderful stories that are often glossed over in academic settings. This podcast uncovers some of those incidents, like the government's weird obsession with margarine, or the flying ambulance developed for Napoleon's army, and the tale of the first woman to circumnavigate the globe on a bike. So that's my 3. So my first, final story is about Cineplex and cinemas are reopening. Cineplex Inc.'s chief directing officer is looking to put the pandemic in rear view mirror as one of the biggest markets will soon lift COVID-19 restriction on movie theaters. CEO Alice Jacobs said on a broadcast interview Wednesday that demand for movie tickets has been huge ahead of Ontario moving to step 3 of its reopening plan later this week. The movie theater operator has been plummeted by the pandemic, with attendance in the first quarter of 2021 plunging 96.1% compared to the same period last year. On an overall basis, we have been burning cash due to the closure, Jacob said. But starting Friday, I hope that's completely behind us and we are open and moving forward with a lot of content and a lot of opportunities, both in our theaters and our rec rooms. Under Step 3 of Ontario's reopening plan, cinemas will be allowed to operate at 50% capacity with a cap of 1,000 people per building. That's a welcome change in places such as Greater Toronto Area, where theaters have been closed for more than 9 months. Jacob said demand is being helped by a strong slate of movie releases as the summer of blockbuster season returns for audiences. Okay, so when I go to Google, if I search And you can just search Cineplex Mississauga where you live, or Cineplex Milton. So I live in Milton. I'll search Cineplex Milton. When you click on the first choice, it will show you a lot of movies. The 4 or 5 popular movies are, and the Space Jam, the new Legacy, and there are more. Just go to Cineplex and just look at the movies, and if you have time next week or next to next week, just watch a movie. And so that's all for me. As always, it's Nebraska from Youth Connect. I'll see you all next week. Thank you very much. Back to you.
You know what, guys? I got to say, some of the podcasts and some of the shows and movies are pretty exciting. And you know what? It is nice to see that the movie theaters are reopening. As long as they're careful, I'm very happy that the movie theaters will be opening. But anyways, we've done our entertainment and we've done our news part, but we need something to just put the cherry on top of this Youth Connect. And you know what that is? It's Jeffrey's live music.
Thanks, Aiden. Hi, everyone. I'm going to be performing Stitches by Shawn Mendes. I thought that I've been hurt before, but no one's ever left me quite this sore. Your words cut deeper than a knife. Now I need someone to bring me back my life. Got a feeling that I'm going on. If I know that I'll make it out alive, if I quit calling you my lover, move on. You're watching, I'm shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, itching, begging you to call out. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, just like a moth drawn to the flame. You into me and I couldn't sense the pain. You better cold not to a touch. Now I'm gonna reap what I sow. I'm seeing red on my own. Got a feeling that I'm going on. I know that I'll make it out alive. I quit calling you my lover, move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without you, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, itching, begging you to come home. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Needle in the thread, gonna get you out of my head. Needle in the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle in the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle in the thread, get you out of my head. Needle in the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle in the thread, gonna get you out of my head. Needle in the thread, gonna wind up. Watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling onto my knees, falling. To my knees, now that I'm in page, big thoughts. Without your kisses, I'll be needing stitch. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. I'll be needing stitches. I'll be needing stitches. Without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Now without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Thanks, everyone.
My goodness, guys. You know what? Stitches, it's by Shawn Mendes. It's such a good song. I really like that song. You'll go. Da-na-na-na-na-na. My gosh. I hope you guys enjoyed that because that was an amazing show. And I got to say, I have to thank all of my co-hosts for all that you do. And you know what? Working together as a team and connecting with you guys and connecting with our viewers is always awesome. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't
forget to click
turn
the
on the
notification bell.
notification bell.
Make sure, yeah, and also check out our Instagram, Use Connect Live. Anyways, guys, we will see you next week. Have a great weekend, guys.
See you.
Guys, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for
Bye,
coming.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.